feel like when you hear the words base game build, a lot of us are like, ooh, base game build. But honestly, the base game isn't even that bad anymore. Yes, it could still use some work. We could always use more stuff. But they really have made a lot of improvements to the base game through Swatch updates and some new items they've added. 10 years later, we are finally starting to get somewhere with the base game. And today in this video, I'd like to build a really big base game house. The kind of thing you could use for like your legacy challenge family. It's gonna have a lot of bedrooms, a lot of skill building space. The sort of house that you could actually reasonably play in, because I am well aware that I often build stuff that nobody can even download. It's either too expensive or it has too many packs. So in a way, it's like doubly too expensive. It's expensive in The Sims and in real life because the DLC costs too much money. This will not be like that. It'll be a real house that you can actually play in, and hopefully it'll look really nice too. I think I'm gonna build it over here on this 30 by 20 lot in Willow Creek called Potter's Splay. Hello? I don't know if she likes this lot. And you know how that like black and white sort of modern farmhouse aesthetic is really popular right now? I'm not necessarily going for like a farmhouse vibe, but I do like the idea of all white walls and black windows. I swear every 2025 new build house you see looks like this. It is very much the style right now. And unfortunately, I might try and go for a slightly like white and black aesthetic on the inside as well. I also don't really use a lot of gray in my builds because it's not really my personal color preference, but I think I'm gonna use a lot of gray in this one. So the goal here is very like builder grade new build house. Hopefully a lot of bedrooms and then a very white, black, and gray color scheme. And I've got a whole speed build for you, but first, I want to tell you a little bit about the sponsor of today's video, Helix Sleep. I just had what is probably the most exhausting month of my life because of my big annual fundraiser. And if there is any time that I have needed a good night's sleep, it is right now. This is where Helix comes in. Because I have been using my Helix mattress for about 3 years now, and it is by far the most comfortable mattress that I have ever slept on. So comfortable that I even got a second one for our guest room, and literally everybody that has ever stayed here raves about it. Granted, that is like 3 people, but still, that's a lot of people that have really loved this mattress. It is hard shopping for new mattresses, and Helix makes it so easy. They have this sleep quiz that will match you to the perfect mattress for you based on your body and your sleep preferences, and then they'll deliver that mattress straight to your door with free shipping in the US. It comes rolled up in a box, and it is so easy to set up. It feels like magic when you're unboxing it. Seriously, it is the most easy, streamlined process, and they also have a 100-night sleep trial, so you can really test it out and make sure that you love it. Saying that kind of got me thinking about how long I've had mine, and I realized that I've had it for over 1,000 nights now. And in those 1,000 nights, let me tell you, it has genuinely made a huge difference in my life. I used to go to hotels and be like, oh, this bed is so comfortable. And now when I go to hotels or like sleep in a bed that isn't my own, I'm like, oh, I wish I was home in my bed. And I'm not even exaggerating. I really, really love this mattress. Helix also has a brand new mattress topper collection, which could be a great option to help upgrade your current mattress. And they've got a few different types to choose from based on how you sleep. So even if you're not in the market for a whole new mattress, you might want to check out their toppers. You spend so much of your life in bed, and sleep is such an important thing. A nice mattress can make a world of a difference. So if you're in the market for a new mattress, I'm gonna link Helix Sleep down below. They actually have a huge 4th of July sale on right now, and they're offering 27% off site-wide. That is a massive discount. So you can go to helixsleep.com/lilsimsie to check it out. Like I said, I'll link that down below for you, and it's also in the pinned comment on this video. And thank you again to Helix Sleep for sponsoring this video. And with that, let's get back into the build. Okay, let's get right into it, and then I'll kind of walk you through what I've built, starting with the exterior, because going into this, I really only had 2 things on my mind. Obviously, I had sort of a general plan of what I wanted it to be like, but the main features I knew were wraparound porch and white. The rest of it was all kind of experimental. So this very beginning part is me just kind of trying to test out some ideas for what the shape might end up looking like. And these things always look weird until the roof gets added, and then it finally starts to make sense. So just bear with me. Also, there is currently someone at my house installing fiber, which is really exciting because after today, my internet's gonna be like 1,000 times better. But that means there's also someone at my house right now, and I am recording this video while they are in the house. Most of the work he's doing is outside. I don't know if he's noise in or out right now, but I am like a little bit conscious of the fact that I'm talking to myself in my office. I have been doing this for a long time and I've never gotten over that. When I'm alone, it's fine, but like if somebody is around, I am hyper aware of the fact that I'm talking to myself, which I think is normal, right? And even if he thinks it's like a Zoom call or something, which is a more reasonable assumption, at the very least, I probably sound rude because I'm just going on and on, leaving no room for anybody else to reply. I'm just talking and talking and talking. But anyway, the general shape of the exterior has kind of come together now. You can kind of see what we're going for with this. One thing that was a little bit weird and maybe like a little bit different for me is the top floor has that little thing that kind of like bumps out and is floating a little bit. I still don't know if I like it that much, but I do like that it adds some more interest. It like kind of breaks up the walls a little bit. So I'm trying it. I'm also using the new base game columns. Those came out in an update a few months ago, so I put those around the outside. We've got a base game fence on the porch that I very rarely use because I don't like how that fence puts automatic posts in the middle of it. There are so many things in this game that I feel like are kind of off limits to me just because I'm so frustrated by the auto placement of stuff. Think like those wallpapers that auto place the corners, but the corners are often wrong. All of the fences auto place posts in the middle of them and they kind of like space it out based on how wide the fence is, but oftentimes the posts end up being not where I want them to be, like in this sort of situation. That's why I put a staircase on the side of the wraparound porch just to break up that weird post problem. I understand why they did this with The Sims 4 because they're trying to make it like easier and more user-friendly to have it automatically place stuff for you. But for me, I would rather have the option to do it manually. If there was like a way to have it auto or manual, that's best case scenario. But like in The Sims 3 with the fence posts, if you drew a line, it would just put a post where you stopped, which I think makes way more sense because you could draw like 3 tiles, stop, have a post be there, draw 3 tiles again, and then you can kind of like custom place where they go. Not everybody cares about that, but like if you build in this game a lot, you probably do, and so I find that very annoying about The Sims 4. Not all of the fences do it either. Some of them don't have any posts, so I often use those instead. But anyway, we've now placed all of the windows down. I went all out with the new base game windows from that same update that had the column. There's a couple different sizes of these windows, and they also have a lot of really nice swatches. This swatch has like a white outdoor frame, and then the inside is painted black, which is so trendy. Like this is the exact vibe that so many houses are using right now. So it was perfect for this. We also have a black front door and then some black sliding doors on the back. But I didn't do only black everywhere. There's a lot of really dark wood accents in here instead of like a true black wood. So the house kind of has like a dark brown, like a deep, rich wood tone, and then a lot of white and gray and blue accents. The interior is kind of giving blue suburban just a little bit, but I didn't mean for it to. It just sort of happened. This next part, the floor plan, took me a while to figure out. It was kind of a process to arrange it all. I think it's because that left side of the house or right side, it depends what side you're looking at it from, but the big, long, skinny part, right? It's very long and skinny and therefore kind of hard to split up into different shapes for rooms. And then we had this like really strange shape next to the staircase downstairs, so it was just a weird one. I really went back and forth a lot about how big the stairs should be and where it all should go, but what we have in the end is basically a downstairs like guest room suite sort of thing. It has an ensuite bathroom. There's another hall bathroom space downstairs that everybody can access. And then upstairs we have 4 more bedrooms. There's a primary bedroom with an ensuite and then a few different kids' bedrooms upstairs. So in the end, it's a 5-bedroom house. It also has an office. There's like a little office space off on the far side. There's kind of like a random bump out downstairs. That becomes the office. It's always so hard to explain this at this point in a speed build because as soon as I start talking about where it is, I like rotate the camera and it goes away. But it all kind of makes sense once the furniture starts going in. And then downstairs also we have a big living room, there's a kitchen and also a small dining area. I really like the living layout because it is kind of open, like one big room, but it isn't just like a big rectangle. It almost has a little bit of a U shape, which I think makes for a more interesting space. But we'll come back to that in a second because right now we are finishing the wallpaper outside. So for the most part, I just use like a white stucco color. But then I also put this little light colored paneling. In the game, it's classed as being masonry, but to me it always looks like a wooden shiplap sort of texture. But I use that as an accent in just a couple of places. So it's still all white, but it has a little bit of an additional texture to it. I had a lot of fun with the backyard because I put like an outdoor kitchen sort of space. This is again a trust the process situation because I wanted to have these built-in cabinets and then I wanted to have plants behind them, but they just look kind of weird. So bear with me, it'll come together in the end. I just used regular base game counters right here, and then I put the grill, the base game grill, inside of it. You can still use it there if it's slotted sort of inside the counters. It just looks better this way. I also really badly wanted to have a bar because I keep trying to add more bars into my gameplay because I need to be better about using the mixology skill. So that kind of adjusted where I put this outdoor kitchen. I still sort of wish that it could be centered properly. You can almost see a little bit when he's using it that when the grill is open, it's clipping visually, but it's only doing that when the grill is open. So I just chose to ignore it and like pretend that it was fine. That is happening purely because I wanted the grill to be centered with the windows. And personally, I think it's worth it because it's closed more often than it's open. But I'm sorry if that really bothers you because I get it. I really understand. I did my best. I tried. It just wasn't working to change it. But then we also have the pool. We have like some bar stools. I put a dining table. There's going to be some lounge chairs eventually. I love this. This is like dream backyard stuff. And this is kind of what I mean by it not feeling like it's the base game. Like you look at the base game and you kind of think like, oh man, we have nothing for the outside. But actually, like look at this. This is lovely. And yeah, it'd be nice to have a new grill or like another set of outdoor counters at some point. But we can definitely make do for now with all of this and it looks really good together. Oh, the other big problem I have is that I really want to have a new pool trim for the base game. That's more of a pressing matter. I would like to have a new base game pool trim like kind of urgently. Base game pool trim, base game plain white, just square column, and some more foundation swatches. That's like my #1 biggest request right now. I need that bad. I would still say new bed swatches too, but we did just get 2 new beds in an update like a month ago. So I don't want to sound too greedy, but you always need more beds as well. I wasn't super sure about the landscaping back here because I didn't know if I liked those like little low-lying bushes with the white flowers. They're kind of like a rectangle shape next to the grill. I really wanted to like it, so I tried, but I wasn't sure how I felt about the combo of the different landscaping. I also did some classic Simsie landscaping with like the low-lying flowers and stuff. And then I put a bunch of white flower boxes around the outside of the house. And I built this live on my Twitch stream first. And a lot of people in chat didn't like that it was all white everywhere. They're like, it's too bland, it's too boring. And I get that. But that was kind of what I was going for. Like that was the initial plan. I think I would have also preferred to have like a pink flower or something a little bit more colorful outside. But I feel like for the style of this house, the all white kind of works. Like the white and black flower boxes especially look so nice up against the white and black walls. It's always kind of funny because like sometimes I'll build things in The Sims and I'm like, listen, I don't like this and I think it looks bad. However, it fits the story, so I'm gonna keep it. Maybe looks bad isn't the right word. I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of times I'll build things in this game that I wouldn't personally choose. Like I'll make a lot of stuff that just isn't really my personal style, but that's okay because I'm like telling a story with it. So I like it and I like how it looks together, and maybe it's like swatches that I wouldn't normally use and I would never buy it in real life, but I can appreciate how it is in The Sims. So I guess just remember, if you hate a build, that's okay. Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe that's the vibe and we're supposed to not like it. Although I do like how this one looks. This house to me is very much giving like new build neighborhood model home. They built this one with like all of the upgrades. It's got the expensive wood floor and the nice marble countertops. They have it staged right now, so when you come in and look at it, you get all inspired and want to buy a duplicate of it for yourself. And then the house that you buy has like the cheap stuff in it. They put like the cheap floor, the worst kitchen layout. The house doesn't have like a fridge or a stove. You have to buy one yourself. There's obviously no outdoor kitchen on your house because just the model home has that. And if you want one for yours, it'll be like a $50,000 upgrade. That sort of thing. That's what I'm going for with this house. So for the downstairs layout, we kind of have like a galley style kitchen in the back right there. And then I put the dining table on a diagonal by the front door. I don't usually do that. I often will try to avoid diagonals in The Sims 4, in fact, but I kind of liked how it fit there. It took me a bit to figure out like the exact space, and I wasn't sure what to put in the hallway, like in between it. and it is kind of tight next to the staircase, but I just think it's so pretty. I think it looks cool. It's kind of an interesting shape. So I'm sorry if you hate that too, but I tried it. I put it there. For a second, I had a bar along this back wall, but then I was like, I've got a bar outside. I don't need two of them. So I deleted that, and we just put like a little side table right there instead, but I did end up adding in a peninsula sort of shape. So we've got like a little bit of a bar stool situation indoors. Wasn't sure where to put the trash can. Tried a lot of different things, went back and forth a lot of times. I was kind of embarrassed by how indecisive I was being about the trash can. Of all the things to like try 5 different placements for, the trash can is kind of funny. Got some random kitchen clutter added inside the kitchen area in here. I think we could probably use a little bit more kitchen clutter in the base game too, but I'll make do for now. And then for artwork, I used some debug artwork. These are like space prints that you can get out of debug. Your Sims can actually find them with the observatory. It's like a whole collection you can try to complete. There's a whole bunch of them, and I never use them in builds because I just don't think about like digging through debug for artwork, but there's a lot, so I'm gonna try and make more of an effort to do that, especially because in this house it matches so well with the black frames and like the kind of gray galaxy sort of style inside of them. This back here is the living room, and this part, it took me a second, I'm not gonna lie. So I started by making my own custom kind of TV stand setup. It's just cabinets hung on the wall and then tables underneath, so it kind of looks like they're set on legs, but the table itself is sort of hidden. And then I really wanted to put a piano. I was trying really hard to fit the grand piano in here, but it just was like quite not enough room. If the place was like 1 tile wider, I think it would have been fine, but it was just a little bit too skinny, so I ended up not using it. My list is getting kind of long, but another thing that I would love to have in the base game is an upright piano. We have a couple upright pianos from packs, but obviously none from the base game. We only have the grand pianos in the base game, which I think is kind of funny because I feel like it should be the opposite. I feel like the upright piano is like the normal standard sort of thing, and then the grand piano makes more sense to have be from a pack because it's like specialty content. But what do I know? I don't have a piano in my real life house. But yeah, I didn't use it. I just put like a bookshelf and some like plants and stuff in the corner instead. We do have some nice curtains and some side tables in here. I kind of figure maybe a scientist lives in this house, or like an astronaut could live here. They don't have a rocket ship, but they do have a telescope in the backyard. We have that little office off to the side with a chess table and a computer, and then this big downstairs room is gonna become the guest room. So I'm kind of picturing that maybe like your Sim's grandma lives here. I'm thinking very much legacy challenge sort of vibes, just because that's kind of how I play The Sims 4, so I often have multi-generational families all in one house. But obviously if you played in this house, you could easily swap this out to be any room that you need. It could be like an art studio, it could be another kid's bedroom, like you could just change the furniture out. I've got a double bed in here and then the ensuite bathroom though. I also cut out the bathroom building from this speed build. In my defense, I actually built this on Twitch during one of the last days of my fundraiser, so I was a little bit distracted at times because people were donating and stuff still. The bathrooms were a slow process. I cut them out as speed builds a lot just for the sake of time, but in this case, it was bad. It was real bad. It was like so stop and start, so I just didn't even bother to include it in this one. But we're now moving upstairs. This is the fun part. This is where the upstairs becomes like totally different vibes than the downstairs. It is very chaotic and colorful up here in the best way. Starting with a kid's room that's kind of like sports and science themed. So I have that like little orange kid's bed. I've got a desk. I put the science table. There's like a dresser and some sports posters on the walls. I don't really know if I personally like this room that much. I have something against the color orange, and I kind of always have. I also think the base game is kind of lacking in orange swatches. I learned this when I tried to build the orange house for my Not So Berry challenge. I was like, ooh, we have like nothing in this game that works for this, especially wallpaper. There's like barely any orange wallpaper. Wow, I am complaining a lot. For a person who started this video being like, the base game's not that bad, guys. Now cut to me like 20 minutes later, the base game's kind of bad, everybody. No, we have to point out the flaws so that they can eventually get fixed. And it's almost always a swatch thing. Some more swatches could solve every problem the base game has at this point. Not every, but most. Anyway, that's the first kid's room. This one over here is gonna be kind of like a cloud themed toddler's room based on that cloud rug and my favorite wallpaper in the entire game, this like kind of cutesy colorful polka dot one. I love this wallpaper. I would love to have more colors of this, and for once, not because I think it's lacking, just because I like it so much. It'd be fun to have some more variants of it. But in here is kind of simple. I just use like the standard kids furniture set. I put like some different toys around and stuff. It's kind of a weird shaped room, so I struggled a little bit with like where to put everything, but I managed to get a lot of stuff in here, mostly like toys and things that I wanted to use for skill building. There's a little bit of artwork on the walls, and that's pretty much the room done. This next room upstairs is gonna become like a teens room, sort of. A lot of times when I build these spaces, they're like a little bit vague because yeah, I intended it to be a teens room, but you could just like make it for a kid instead and like add an extra toy in or something. This one I used a lot of the pride swatches in, but it was like very rainbow vibes inside of the room. I don't really know if I like how it looks with the black furniture. This was kind of a new thing for me to try, but I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad I tried it. I started with the rainbow bed, and then I thought it was like maybe a little bit too much with the rug, just because the patterns were kind of clashing. I liked how the colors looked together, but it didn't really work in the end. So I went back to a base game bed and then changed it out to lighter wood swatches too. And all of a sudden it looked like 10 times better in there. I don't know about the dark wood floor and like all the light walls and light wood stuff, but I wanted to have the same floor throughout the house, so I kept it. We also have a computer desk underneath the window. I used the cool element collection item from the base game, which I never ever use and I never try to complete. The element collection is like one of my least used game features in the entire thing, but I made sure I put it in here because this whole family is kind of sciencey. They have like science tables everywhere and stuff. So I also wanted to use that new base game gallery wall, but I kind of had a hard time fitting it in here because it was like a little bit tight. I couldn't really use the canvases that I wanted because this sim is supposed to be kind of artsy. They have an easel in there, but that's okay. You don't need to have canvases. It just was gonna be kind of cute. But that's pretty much the entire room. I just added a couple things like a backpack and a lamp and stuff. And then the last room in the entire house is the primary bedroom. And this is probably also the most boring room in the entire house. I am so sorry to tell you. It's like so gray and so bland. This is so model home though, because I swear, I look at a lot of real estate listings. It's just fun for me. And this happens so often. They put like a very tranquil, like peaceful primary bedroom. I think because most people can kind of envision themselves in that space a bit more, they're not gonna paint the walls like neon pink in the primary bedroom. Yeah, it could be kind of fun, but it's off-putting for a lot of people, and they want people to be able to imagine themselves there. But they will often do funkier things in the kids' spaces. So I think that's kind of realistic. But anyway, the whole house is done. The speed build is over. So what I want to do now is pop back into the game and give you a tour of the finished product. I built this here on the Potter's Splay lot in Willow Creek. And on the gallery, it is very creatively called Base Game Big Family Home. So if you're looking for it, hopefully it's easy to find. It costs about 137,000 simoleons, no packs obviously, and it's a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. And this is what it looks like when you place it. Hopefully my game does not crash. Oh, we're good, okay. But look, isn't that cute outside? So this is kind of what the exterior looks like. We've got some really pretty landscaping. I went back and I tried to line this pathway with these little debug stones. On the front porch, I also put like a welcome mat. There's a bench, a woodworking table, and like some decorative plants and stuff. And then you come around back here. This is that like built-in grill and bar area. A couple of these things are from rewards events, like this hot chocolate tray. So if you didn't play the reward event, you might not have that, but it's not a big deal. It'll just delete. There's a couple lounge chairs. In hindsight, I kind of wish that I had made this black, but I didn't really think about that. There's also a dining table. We have a monkey bar set and also some planter boxes. And then way back in this corner, we also have a telescope. And then when you come inside the house, you'll walk in through this front door right here. And the front entryway has this cute staircase in the corner. There's like a coat rack. And then we have the really nice dining room. I did put a high chair in here. I don't often use them, but I did today. This is the kitchen kind of tucked in the back. I love the view from these windows of the pool. They've got kind of an expensive set of fridge and stove and everything. I've got this sort of cute wall in the hallway with some artwork and like a boombox. This doesn't quite work properly raised up this way because it's not slotted there, but it'll work fine. It just might annoy you a little bit in gameplay, and if it does, replace it over here on the coffee table, okay? It slots there. But this way we have the living room space. They've got a couple really big sliding doors. I've got 3 sliders total, lots of backyard access. They also have some more artwork, a pet frog, and like a little guitar. This is the office area. I tried to put a lot of clutter inside of these shelves to make it look like it wasn't the same thing 3 times, because it is the same thing 3 times. But I wanted to try and add different clutter in so it didn't seem so repetitive. They have a computer and like a speaker in here too. And then down this way, this is the guest bedroom for grandma. And they have like a big ensuite bathroom right here as well. This is like a little hall bathroom, very black and white with like the stark black grout in the tile. And then when you go upstairs again, hallway is really simple and plain. Not a lot going on in here, but we do have the first kids bedroom. This one's kind of funky in orange and blue. We have the teens bedroom that's kind of rainbow vibes. And then on this side, we also have the toddler's bedroom. Those 3 Sims will share this little hall bathroom that I tried to put a bunch of cute clutter inside of. There's like a toddler potty. I have a bathtub so you can bathe the toddler. And then last we have this little primary bedroom. Very simple, but very cute. They also have a fish. And they've got a very weirdly shaped ensuite bathroom. I don't know if I like this, but I do like that they have the corner tub. So yes, it's kind of a strange shape, but I think that's fun. I struggled a lot with this. For a while, I thought about trying to make like a closet and then the bathroom or something, but I think that the funky shape is better. So I kept it like that. And that is the entire house complete. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun building this one, and hopefully it comes in handy for you as players to have like another base game nice house to put in your saves. Even if you don't play in it, you could just like add it to the world and then like shove some townies inside of it to have more Sims for your Sims to be friends with. But on that note, I'm gonna stop yapping and I will wrap this video up right here. Thank you again to Helix for sponsoring this one. And if you're in the market for a new mattress, I've got that link down below, helixsleep.com/lilsimsie. They've got that huge sale on right now where you can get 27% off site-wide. So make sure you check that out. And I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. Oh, also I should warn you, I am working on a build that includes every single pack. Not just a lot of packs, literally every single pack. Balance, right? You know, base game build 1 week, every single pack ever the next.